Hello and good morning. I welcome you to this session on Python programming. Today we are going to discuss the topic exception handling. Now, the first question that comes to mind is what is an exception in Python? Like in any other programming language, an exception is a warning or an error condition. And when this exception occurs, it causes the current process or the current program to stop and passes it to the calling process until it is handled. And if not handled, then your program is definitely going to crash. For example, if you're in function A and you call function B, which in turn calls function C, and an exception occurs in function C, if it is not handled in C, it passes to B and then to A, and the normal functioning of your program stops. Now, how do we catch exceptions in Python? So in Python, exceptions can be handled using a pair of try and except statements. Now, a critical operation which can raise exception should always be placed inside a try clause. And the code that handles the exception is written in an except clause. So you can say that try and except help you to handle exceptions in Python. Now, let me take up a small code for you to understand this concept. So I've taken up an example in which I've got a list with me with three elements. You can say one is a string, one and two are integers. One is 0 and 2. Now I'm writing some code which parses through all the elements of this list and calculates r as 1 slash and converting it to an int on this thing. Now, obviously, when the first item is fetched A, then it cannot be converted into an int. So it will raise an exception and the control will jump to the except block and it will print the specified exception. Now, one way of picking up what type of error has occurred in your program is to use the sys module in Python, and where there is an inbuilt function exe_info. So let me run this program for you. And obviously you can see the first output is the entry is A, and because the value error has occurred, right? The moment you reach here, you can't divide, you cannot convert a string into an int, so the error is raised. So since we are in the loop, the next time you try it, it is 1 slash 0. So that is a divide by 0 error. Okay, you can see all the errors are being printed, and whenever the value can be calculated, the answer is displayed on the screen. Now, let me make a change here. Let me add an except block like this, in which I mention the exception on my own. Say, for example, value error, and say I print here value error occur. Now, if I run this program, when the first entry is fetched from the list, then it will be caught by this except value error handler, and the message value error occurred would be printed. Let's see this. So now you understand the concept. But now here in this value error, I'm printing this message on my own. If I really want to print the specific error, I can either take the help of this, or I can use something like this, which will print the exact specific error that has occurred in your program. Okay, there's a mistake here. Just I'll begin the string here. Yeah. I'm sorry, it should be without quotes. Yeah, it needs to print the message. So that is the error now. Invalid literal for int with base 10. That is A. So we needed an integer value here and we are getting a string. So you see the different ways in which we can tackle the exceptions in our programs. Now let me take another example with you guys of exception handling, in which we're going to catch multiple exceptions. So let me just reach out here. Now, if you need to catch multiple exceptions, you need to write multiple exception blocks. Okay, so like we can have a try block and it can be followed by multiple exception blocks. Okay, so here just like in the previous example that I've discussed with you, I've taken a specific exception value error, and here I've taken a tuple for two exceptions. Okay, now if I run it, so here I'm taking two possible uh, types of errors. The first one is I'm inputting an integer, and since I am trying to input an integer, but since the input always takes a string as a variable, so x is a string variable and a is 0. So if I do it like that, this c is equal to 1/a, the control will jump here and will try to find what type of error is there. So it will be catching this zero division error. Okay, so let me just run it for you. So if I enter an integer as, say, whatever, say I enter 5 here. So the zero division error is caught. You can see here when I enter the value of x is 5, that is a string, but the variable a is 0, so 1/a raises this exception, zero division error. What if I switch it like this? Say instead of this, I write here. So what do you assume now? Now I'm trying to divide an integer by a string, so a type error occurs. Okay, this is caught first because it is written first. So let me run this for you now. So if I enter, say, 4, so you can see the type error has occurred. So in this way you can catch multiple exceptions by either writing the except as a tuple. You can add there, and the specific error can be caught by this sysmodules function sys.exe_info. This is very helpful. So I'll continue with the exception handling in my next lecture. Thank you.